Yes, what are your thoughts on lowering the voting age to 16?
Look, as a 17-year-old, I'd love to have the opportunity, but I'm going to have to kind of say here that I don't think it'd be appropriate to extend that right to people my age. I honestly don't think there's enough education done on this topic for students to kind of understand how their votes are going to affect other people. And I think 16 and 17, these are the years where it's sort of that transition period where you're kind of getting your foot out the door, and you're kind of you have to sort of understand, where you have to be independent and how to get guidance at the same time. And I don't think this age is the right age for those people to kind of make adult decisions. And also, just to kind of mention some other studies here, there's been reports that literacy assessment rates are down more than 14 points compared to 2015 and 2016. And so that concerns me a little bit, because as a young voter, I would hope that people that are voting are able to have even a basic understanding about literacy and even things about politics and things like that. Right now, there just isn't enough education to kind of foster this new a rule if adopted.
Well, I just wanted to say that I think that 16 and 17-year-olds should be allowed to vote. You can be charged with a crime at age 16 and 17. A lot of 17-year-olds and 16, 17-year-olds rely on public transit. They pay taxes, so why wouldn't they be allowed to vote? The critics that say that they shouldn't be allowed to vote, well, then if that's the case, maybe they shouldn't be able to be charged with a crime. Maybe they don't have to pay taxes and things like that. And then, of course, there's the opposition also says that they're not mature enough to vote and stuff, and they can believe misinformation. I think, I have seen some of the stuff that older people on Facebook believe in their comments and stuff, and I just want to say I think it's the other way around, really. So, yeah, that's just my take on that.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I do want to first acknowledge that the right to vote is certainly a pillar of democracy that is indispensable to a free nation, and it should be upheld by citizens. The question here is whether that is a responsibility that should be bestowed upon young individuals. And though I do believe it's paramount to increase youth receptivity to politics, I will also strongly disagree because and I'll cite my own experiences as a high school student. From what I have gathered via interactions and such, students, particularly high school students, are very impressionable in that they have a proclivity to succumb to views or the prevailing views, whether it's a view that's propagated by a peer, a parent, or even a political figure.
What do you say to the argument that when it comes to being impressionable and succumbing to misinformation, that can certainly happen at any age group?
Yes, but I believe because of, again, experience, it's easier for adults having been exposed to matters that are perhaps, pertaining to politics, that they're more cognizant of such matters and are better able to respond to it.
I agree with everything your callers have mentioned, which is that, yes, 16-year-olds are highly competent and adults are sometimes no more competent. Personally, I believe that we have a responsibility to vote, not a right to vote. And I'd like to see the voting age actually increased or become more difficult to vote because I don't see people voting. Maybe we need to bring in Australia's rules where if you don't vote, you actually get a ticket or a fine.
The idea of mandatory
maybe
voting.
It needs to be more like a driver's license where we make people write a knowledge test before they get behind the wheel of a vehicle. Maybe you need to earn the right to vote by completing some sort of mini course or test or online proof that you actually understand what you're doing. Because personally, as an adult, as a 40-year-old in Victoria, BC, some of my peers don't really know what they're doing, assuming they actually make it to the ballot booth. They're just like one of your previous TikTok comments said, they're voting the same flavor that their parents voted because that's how they were raised. So I would like to actually see people embrace the responsibility. We can't make them appreciate it, but maybe we can change the rules to make people realize the wonderful thing about living in a democracy is that you do have choice.
The weight of it.
It's a right to be protected.